Hey everybody, welcome back to the Laps Comic Fan. I'm Steve, and today I'm talking Batman Court of Owls, Part 2. Alright, so I have to apologize right off the bat. I have been really sick, and I almost didn't want to do this today, but I figured, hey, I got to, so it might not be the best video, so I'm sorry for that, and we're just going to get into the book. But first, we're still running the contest for the Dark Knight Returns box set, and you can comment on this video also. You can comment on this or part 1 of the Court of Owls. Give us a comment of what your favorite Batman story is, whether it be movie, cartoon, run, animated movie, whatever you want, and you will be entered. And the more comments I get, I'll let you know when the contest will end. But right now, we don't have that many, so I don't want to give an end point. You'll also get with the Dark Knight Returns box set, I'm throwing in this awesome 100 Greatest Batman Moments. It's a really good book, guys. It's really nice, hardbound book. It's really cool for any Batman lover out there. Lover. All right, so Batman Court of Owls. So far, this book has been phenomenal. I have finished it. I actually finished it before I did the first review, but I wanted to do it in 2 parts. That way I could talk about it a little bit more. I will try to do my best on this second go around, but we left off with Batman in the maze being confronted by the Court of Owls. He now knows that they are legit, they are real, and he is in a mess. He is in quite a bind. Batman's been missing for 8 days, and Gordon has been leaving on Siggy, the bat signal, according to Bullock. That's what he calls it. Not necessarily for Batman, but for the scum who think Gotham is their playground, and for the people who actually know who Batman is under the cowl. So I really like that. It's kind of an emotional scene right there. Gordon's up on the roof, and you know, Bullock comes out and calls it Siggy the Bat Signal. Says, you're going to burn it out, man. You've been leaving it on for 8 days. And they have these really nice panels where it's like, it's not just because of him. The people that know him, and it shows like, you know, the Bat family, Alfred and Catwoman. And it shows like how much he's starting to mean to the city, because, you know, like I said, it's a new 52, so it's supposedly superheroes have only been around for 5 years, and he's made quite a relationship with Gordon so far in that 5 years, and it's getting to the point of where it was before they did the new 52, where they were, you know, like thick as thieves. Batman is in a maze, and he's been staying in the dark where he feels it's safe from them. Safe from the owls. He comes upon a giant owl statue water fountain, and he has been there many times. All the roads seem to lead back here. He looks really bad and has to drink some of the water, even though he suspects it's drugged. Yeah, so we finally see Batman. He's kind of like in the dark at first. He's just peering around, and we finally see his face. And I mean, dude, looks bad. It's bad, guys. And he's so thirsty that he must have drank this water before, because when he came upon the fountain, he was like, how did I get here again? How am I here again? And that'll be something that happens to him quite a lot. Some of the rooms he ends up in, it's like they're just totally trying to break him. And he knows, like, I shouldn't drink this water, only a little bit, because it's probably drugged and he's probably hallucinated. And even if it's not, he's been going crazy to begin with. So, I mean, they're totally trying to break this guy. So he takes a drink of the water, and he ends up going back into the dark. He's really like, the way they describe it, it's like, he's like, I have to get back into the dark. It's where it's safe. It's where they can't see me. It's where I'm protected. And he starts going through there, and he ends up in this room, and it's all these portraits of people who have been in that room and have been driven crazy by the Court of Owls, people they've killed. And there's a camera right in the middle of the room, and it's like taking his picture. every time he goes in there, or at least that's what it looks to believe. And he's looking at all the people who've just deteriorated over time. And it's like, he's thinking, is that my fate? Is that what's going to happen to me? And we see from behind, we see Talon eyes. Everything that the rhyme, like the Talon is always watching, everything plays into each other in this, guys. It's so brilliant. It's just perfect. Not only is Batman going through something, the reader is also going through something too. And it plays on your emotions and plays on fears. It's brilliantly done. Batman smashes the camera and retreats into the dark, and he sees a bunch of people in owl masks, and he charges at them. He's going mad. But they're not there. He's looking very savage and haggard, and the Talon watches from behind. Sooner or later, he will find them. So this maze is huge, and he gets in there and he sees the Court of Owls. It's like and he charges at them, and there's nothing there. And his cape is long, it's ripped, it's just like he's progressively just getting worse. And the way that they draw his face, he looks like bleached white stubble, eyes are bloodshot and just crazy, and he's just going nuts. And every time he's there, it's on the ground, or anytime you could see the Talon behind him. It's like he's being followed. And this maze is gigantic. It's huge. Okay, so now we come to one of the coolest parts of this book. Like I said, it messes with the reader too. It takes you on a journey. You're holding the book here, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, it's all sideways. And then you're like, oh shit. You actually have to turn the book. You actually have to physically manipulate the book to read it. And he's in one of these parts. It's like a part of the maze, but you could see like a miniature city of Gotham. And he's talking like that. It's his city. He knows every alley, every rooftop, all this stuff. And he's looking, and he sees names on this wall, and it's just crazy. So you're reading from here to here. And then he goes through this next room, and there's all these caskets. And there's like pictures of people, and there's faces on them. It's like these children. And he's just like, what in the hell is going on? It's incredible how you have to read this section of the book. So then he ends up again back at that room with all the pictures, and he's just like, no. And he looks over, and he sees his parents, and he's like, oh, thank God. And they look real old and kind of haggard, but he's just so happy to see them. And he goes up to him and he hugs him, and he's got this weird look on his face, and you're just like, oh my God, what the hell? And then you actually have to turn the book again. And then it's almost like manga, because it starts from the right page to the left page. And then his parents' faces begin to drop, and then a freaking owl comes bursting out of their mouths, and blood goes everywhere, and it just starts ripping at him. And it's just like, I mean, he's gone totally, completely bonkers. He ends up back at the fountain again, and he's just like, oh my God. And he starts messing with one of the tiles on the ground. He picks one up and falls right in. But then literally, it's like, no, it can't be. It's the room with the camera. And he loses it. He freaks out. So the whole time he's like playing this story in his head about and that's why he's like freaking out. Like he's ended up in this room again. And each time he's in a room, it's like part of the story plays about, like, he's like, no, this isn't my story. This isn't how it ends. This isn't how this is going to be. It's just the whole psychosis of the book right now. You're just like, you're reading it and you're physically altering the book, and you're just like, what the fuck am I reading? This is insane. Talon sneaks up behind Batman and stabs him through the back in the room of faces and lets him know the Court of Owls has sentenced him to die. The Talon presents Batman to the court and asks how they wish him to die. So he ends up in that room again with all the pictures of all the faces, and he's just freaking out, like I was saying. And then Talon just comes up, bam, right behind him, stabs him. Just like, of all the crap, dude. It shows also how messed up he is, because he didn't even know the Talon was behind him. Like, all his senses are just totally destroyed. He's pretty much gone insane. And then he gets stabbed, and the Talon picks him up and brings him out, and he's got him, and he presents him to the court. You see up top, all the court is there. Well, a lot of them are. And he asked them, Court, how do you wish him to die? And they're all like, let the littlest decide. Everybody's yelling something like, break his neck. Gah. And the littlest one is there, and she's got this little doll. And it's cool because as we're seeing them as people, they're also turning into owls as we see them. They're not really turning into owls, but we're seeing it through the eyes of Batman and how crazy he is. So she tells the Talon to hurt him more. And he goes, and they're all, more. And the Talon kicks him through a wall. And what Batman sees is everybody closing in on him, and he's just freaking out. He's like, what the fuck? And he looks over, and next to him is a picture of Alan Wayne, his great-grandfather. It looked like Alan Wayne was calling out for someone to help him in that picture, somebody. And then finally, he just says, enough. And in one of the coolest pages, because you got to remember, we're seeing it from Batman's psychosis. This isn't the way that it's happening. It's just how the art is expressing how crazy he is. Batman loses it and starts to fight back in his mind and physically. He starts beating the shit out of the Talon. The art here is incredible. It really accentuates the emotion and madness Batman and the reader are feeling. Talon tries to fight back, and Batman finally starts to get the upper hand. So Batman finally, he's like, the adrenaline is gone so high, he's batshit crazy, and he's just fighting back. That place that was like the miniature city, he's just beating Talon all through there. He's like, this isn't your city, this is fake, this is my shit, bitch! He tells Talon that he's nothing. He's like, you're a hired thug. You're not special no matter what they tell you, no matter what you tell yourself. And this is great. And he's like, and now what you are is finished.
Finish him!
And he hauls off for the most spectacular punch in Batman the New 52 run so far, because he punches the Talon right through a wall, just like Batman has been kicked through the walls and beaten and drugged through everything and gone to the owl fountain room and the picture room and hiding in the dark for days. Just everything comes out of Batman, and he's just like,
Oh, you can!
So Batman busts into the room where the fountain is, and he's got the Talon, and he tells the Court of Owls, he's like, and that goes for you too. You guys are done. You're finished. And he also talks about how he knows the city better than anybody, because he knows by the taste of the water and the fountain's minerals that they're by a river. He says that this construct is made of white marble, and also in the camera is potassium chlorate, the filament in the camera that he took out, and he said that the marble is susceptible to explosions, and he lights it, and kaboom! Blows a hole in it, goes down, and he drops into the river below. Batman falls into an underground river, and the court make an appearance figuring out what to do with the Talon. The old lady says dispose of him, since he won't heal in the important way, not from the beating that he just took, and it doesn't matter because they have more. Many, many more. Wake them all. So this is crazy, because it already couldn't be crazy enough. There's an old woman who's in a wheelchair, and they seem to defer to her, and she's like, nah, throw this Talon out. He's not going to heal from that beating that he just took. Besides, anyway, we got more. Just wake them all. And that room with that look like the coffins with the pictures of the kids, those are Talons. They have a ton of them. So this is a very interesting little part of the book. It's a flashback, and it shows Bruce sitting in the chair at his house when he's trying to figure out what to do, and the inspiration comes in the form of a bat, and he sees the bat. And he's like, yes, the bat. But they show a little bit more after that. What they don't show you from before is an owl comes and grabs the bat and starts to eat it, and it kills it. So the next time we see Batman, he's actually being woken up by this mystery girl who, if you didn't read further, you wouldn't know who she was. Her name is Harper Row. And there's a story later on about her and her brother, and I guess she ends up becoming part of the Bat family, but he has ran into her before. And there was this story where she works in the tunnels underground, and her brother, who's gay, gets made fun of a lot, gets beat up a lot. And Batman ends up saving them from getting jumped, and she becomes obsessed with him and is wondering how he gets around the town. She's really smart with electronics and electricity, and finds out that he has these bat boxes in the electrical grid, and that's how he can control like certain cameras, why he's never seen, and why the only footage of him is from people's cell phones. You never see actual footage of him from security cameras and stuff like that. And she goes to manipulate one of the bat boxes because she thinks one of them went down, but it was actually, he did that on purpose so the police would know where he was at to come, because he was battling a criminal. And he tells her, like, whatever you're doing, you're done. You're through. You don't even know what you're doing. And she's like, yeah, I'm not so much done. So she revives him with a car battery and shocks him to awake. And then he looks at her, and he's just been gone through everything. He's still looking crazy, and he's just like, you! Ah! It's like nothing is going right for him right now. And it's hilarious to me. And he's like, I told you, stay away from me. And he gets out of there. The court starts awaking Talons, and Batman makes it to an underground tunnel in a sewer and is greeted by a familiar face. It's a huge welcome home, but Batman is still traumatized. And when he sees a dead Talon that Alfred found near the beacon from Batman's suit, he freaks out. Once he settles down, he tells Alfred, get him on the table. Next we see the court getting Talons ready for war. Bruce finally gets it. I guess he went through a sewer, and he has, there's this like one gated off place, and he gets there, and Alfred's got a shotgun, and he's like, it's me. And he's like, holy crap, you're alive. And even like in that state of mind and everything that's gone on, he still gives Alfred the password. Like, dude, we know it's you. You know, he's still sticking by the book. And he sees, I guess Alfred had found the Talon that they didn't revive in a frozen part of the water, and it was near where Batman had set off his homing beacon. I guess originally they probably threw the Talon in the same hole that Batman blew into the ground. So if you remember from the first part, I was talking about this story with Dick Grayson and how the original person that started this whole thing with that case where Bullock and the fire on the walls that Bruce Wayne will die tomorrow or whatever. And the guy had Dick's DNA under his fingernails and all that stuff. So Dick goes to visit Batman, and he's like, hey, I know you didn't want anybody, but I'm here. I wanted to talk to you. We're like, you know, what did they do to you, man? And he starts talking about the Talon, because he has the guy out on a table, and he's like, listen, there's this stuff called Electrum that keeps them alive. That's how they're able to revive them. They're almost in a state of being alive. Even right now, he is. He's like, and he's like, I found out who this guy is through a simple DNA test. And Dick's looking at him, and he goes, his name is William Cobb, and he's your great-grandfather. And you're like, what? And he tells him that Dick, the reason why that guy kind of was shadowing him is because Dick was picked to be a Talon. And it's crazy, man. And Dick really wants to know all this other information, and Batman's stonewalling him. So Dick goes off on him, goes off on everything. He's like, you don't even know what I've been through. Batman just hauls off and cracks him. It's insane. You're just like, what in the balls? I guess that's the way of the bat, brooding and smacking your family. So as this is going on, it cuts to the last scene in this book. And you see a bunch of Talons, and you see the court. And this guy's like, tonight we are out to get our enemy, but we're also taking our kingdom back. And he like unleashes the Talons, a ton of them, on the city of Gotham, and supposedly to get Bruce Wayne / the Batman. So that was Court of Owls, guys. Volume 1. There's a Volume 2 called City of Owls. I can tell you it is really cool. And the Talons do attack Wayne Manor, and it's awesome. Like, the art, guys, in this is phenomenal. Greg Capullo is an amazing artist. It seems like him and Snyder were made to make Batman. And I am so thrilled with this. I know that it's only like 10 years old. It'll be 10 years old, I think, in May or June or something, or July. But to me, that's newer. That's a newer thing. And I keep hearing from people about how comics nowadays suck. I know this isn't a nowadays, it's 10 years. A lot happens in 10 years, but this is amazing. I am so thrilled that I got to read this. And how I heard of, how I heard of this, I saw the Batman versus Robin animated feature, but I also saw on the channel Comic Pop, they do a show called Back Issues, where the guy Sal, he's been reading comics his whole life, and he explains the stories to his good friends or his best friends. There's two guys there, and they don't normally read comics. I'm sure they do now because the channel's been around for so long. But it's a great show. It's hilarious. It's one of the better comic book shows on there. And it blows my mind that I see all these other comic book channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and these dudes have like 99,000. And I'm like, this dude Sal has more knowledge. He's forgotten more about comics than people know. Like, he doesn't even have to look at the books, and he tells you boop a doop a doop a doop a doop a doop a doop a doop, and you're like, dude, that is a real fan right there. This dude, you could tell like he's read this shit. He knows his shit. So if you go watch their shows, guys, they've done a ton of Back Issues episodes, and they're phenomenal, and I love them. Comic Pop's probably my favorite channel out of all of them. I don't know. I just really like their banter and their humor, and he's not afraid to swear, and he just doesn't give a shit like I don't. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. Batman Court of Owls, I give this a 5 out of 5. Total recommendation. If you can get, I know on Amazon they sell kind of like this Dark Knight Returns volume. They sell the mask, the Court of Owls mask, and the book in a collector's box. It's like $30 or $40. That's kind of, I know, expensive for just one volume of something, but it's worth it, guys. I'm sure you could find them cheap like I did. I got this at an Ollie's for $2.99. Same with the volumes I have been reading. I am actually all the way up to, oh no, you fell down. You fell down, you bastard. I just finished 0 Year Secret City. It's really, really good. It told the origin story of the Joker and is moving into a Riddler story. It's really, really cool, guys. I like it. I love this run, man. I'm pleasantly surprised by this. I think it's amazing, and I'm enjoying it. I totally recommend it. I'm sorry this wasn't as good. If it's not as good as the first one, I'm sorry. I am not feeling good right now at all. But I wanted to put out some content. So I'm going to be streaming a lot more this week, guys. And I'm getting some new equipment. I'm getting a new camera. And I just got a new MacBook. So I'll be able to use some higher end editing software. So the editing will change. Yeah, the editing's going to change. All right, guys. Good night. Editing, 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 editing.